Welcome to the Shivan library, and today we are taking the Triple S deck for a spin for the second time around to see how the deck fares. And now let's start off by taking a quick look at the list I'm running today. Triple S is a bit aggressive blue-white variant with a substantial creature presence. No Serenips, but rather Suchi taking that slot instead. Suchi is notably better racing against Zero Angels and dodging things like bottles and blue blasts, though on the other hand being weaker against artifact removal. So, like red, it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. The shell around them is a fairly standard blue-white control deck with sort disenchants, counterspells, and the powerful blue singletons. No mass removal other than balance, but that is not really the route this deck wants to go anyway. We are getting a lot of fast mana from the full Mox package, which helps to cast the colorless Suchis and speed up the Angels. The idea is to slam powerful early threat and just plow the damage through. Sideboard has some red hate, artifact hate, and most importantly, enough cards to pivot completely to a control mode. This can be a pretty good surprise to an opponent and make a lot of slow removal useless. The first match against the deck did not end that well, but let's see how this match turns out. Alright, this game number 1. I'm on the draw and took one mulligan to start. And the opponent starts with Library of Alexandria, and that is something you do not want to see on turn 1. That is something you've lost games to, and we all know we've had. And for me, I get a pretty decent start. Lion and Mox on turn 1, that's usually a good way to start. But that library, that's gonna be my downfall if I don't have an answer soon. And at this point, I'm not yet sure what my opponent's playing, so I gotta fear for the worst. But a mountain is something you do not usually see with library. And that's a good sign at this point. Usually library with something like blue-white, that means destruction, but with a mountain, that might be just a way to get like extra gas at the end of the game. And the lion took a bolt right out the first attack. No luck there. But my luck's about to turn. I drew a Chaos Orb, and that library is gonna be my target. Now he's just hoping that the flip's gonna be good. Placing the Mox as a target. Boom, that's a clean hit. That library just drew one card, took away a land drop, and that's pretty much the best you can hope for. If you don't have that turn 1 strip mine, a turn 2 Chaos Orb is pretty much the next best thing. But what do my eyes see? Is that a Kobold on the other side of the table? That's something you don't see every day, and that's just made this match a whole lot more interesting. For me, it's just more Mishra's factories. And the first one, going for the attack. Yeah, that 0-1 Kobold, that's not gonna stop a factory at this point. So, free attack, dropping the opponent to 18. And with a pump, going down to 17. Let's see, can the Kobolds multiply? Or what's it? Oh, absolutely nothing. So I have a strong feeling my opponent really needed that library. And another factory for me. This is gonna be fast if these factories are gonna do the work. 5 points getting in. And that's my turn. Let's see. A new draw and a new possible threat. Another mountain. And another Kobold hitting the board. Now those little critters are multiplying. And a dragon whelp. Okay, now this is something I need to worry about. Being a 2/3 flyer with fire breathing, that thing, if it's gonna hit me, especially if there's some mana flare or any other kind of booster, that's gonna hit hard. And of course, as a 2/3, I really need to think my factories. Yeah, leaving one behind for the boost. And it blocks, nope, no blocks at this point. Getting that 5 damage. The opponent's gonna play a little careful at this point. And see if that dragon is gonna be swing back. Oh, what's gonna happen? Another mountain. Yeah, the dragon whelp's fire breathing may not be as good as Shivan dragons, but for a single swing, they can do 5 damage safely. And at this point, they can even hit up to 7 if they need. Contemplating real hard about the dragon. Is it gonna be hitting me or not? Not yet sure. Thinking real long and hard for this one. And it is going for the swing. Yeah, that's... And yeah, full safe pump, hitting me for 5. Okay, I'm still at pretty safe 15. That's not a bad one, but let's see. This can... Against the red deck, it can always turn really quick. A soul ring at this point, well, it doesn't really scare me anymore. And especially that colorless mana ain't gonna do anything to the fire breathing. And now there's 2 blockers. The dragon is not staying home. I can do a free swing with all. Going down to 1 or blocking? Now, good question. Good question here. Looking at my board and having that red marks tapped, it's not likely that I would have any burn at this point. And especially a deck like this may or may not play red spells at all. And there is a long wait. And yeah, the Kobolds are going to be jumping at this point. Yeah, those have done that work. No boosters for them. Just taking 2 damage, dropping down to 5. And the dragon is getting possibly a free attack if they want to, but that means they're most likely going to be dead in the crackback. And let's see if that draw was any better. Do we see any boosts? Do we see any mana acceleration? But more mountains, more mountains. And tapping for 4. And that's a gauntlet of might. Yeah, well, that would explain all the kobolds and all the fire breathing. +1/+1 for all red creatures. And all mountains produce an extra red mana when tapped. And that would explain all the kobolds and all the other little fire-breathing dragon whelps right there. Now, thinking long and hard, how much damage can you do with that dragon right away? It's 2 for its core power, +1 for the gauntlet, and 8 points of fire-breathing damage. But it would kill it, dropping me down to 4 life and killing them right in the backswing. So dragon staying home, turn is passed, and I have disenchant right away. Yeah, that gauntlet would be extremely dangerous if left unchecked. Like, if I would let them untap, most likely I would die to some level of removal right away. Now the dragon is blocking, but I think that is a safe attack nonetheless. Just, yeah, leave one behind to boost the one that gets blocked, trade with the dragon, and make sure they do not get the kill next turn. Yeah, making it safe to go on. Easy trade for me. But at this point I'm still at the mercy of the red spells. Now, 8 mana doesn't automatically kill me straight away, but they do still have cards in hand. And few lightning bolts here and there, and 1 X spell, and that's game over, right? And nothing on their turn. Now this is my spot. All I need to do is connect with those factories and it is game over. No, 1 red mana and it is a lightning bolt. Well, against red, you're always expecting those bolts and shadows, so the factories, yeah, they might eat it at any turn. But dropping them down to 1, all I need is 1 hit. 6 mana, and it is a Shivan dragon. Oh, this game just took a turn for the worse. A 5/5 flying fire-breathing dragon is nothing to scoff at. At this point, when I'm at 15 life, it may sound like a big number, but that is not gonna last. And a Library of Alexandria at this point, with 2 cards in hand, yeah, that ain't gonna do it. Now another mountain. Yeah, at this point, mountains become really scary. And wait a minute, doing the math, how many mountains are you tapping? Are we gonna see another dragon? 7 mountains and a soul ring, 9 mana available. Tapping everything. And a firebolt dome. Yep, that drops me down to 7 life. Not enough yet for the dragon to swing, but this means I get only 1 draw and that's it. If this card isn't gonna help me, it's game over. Is it any good? There's a land. There's a city of brass. What is in my hand? What is left? Because that factory ain't gonna attack anymore. Passing the turn. Dragon swings. Tapping the mana for fire breathing. And I got nothing in hand. It is game 1 for Kobolds and we're going to the next round. And game number 2. At this point I'm kinda thinking I need to get some beefier creatures on board. You know, like those Mishra's factories just couldn't cut it against the big dragons. And oh, this is a scary start right away. Mountain into a Mox, into a Soul Ring, and another Mox. And when the first Kobold of the turn. This is kind of a scary spot to start. Is okay, they don't have a double red for any of the bigger dragons, but if they play a mountain, that's 6 mana right away on turn 2. And we're getting a Kobold Taskmaster first, and that is worth a blue blast right away. Those Kobolds are gonna be hitting hard and fast if that thing remains on play, especially when all the other buffs start coming in. And they're not done. Candelabra of Tavnos, and they spend the last mana to untap the mountain. Yeah, Candelabra itself isn't seen that often, but with all the mana acceleration, that thing can get out of hand pretty goddamn fast. Yeah, little misplay there by not tapping the Candelabra, but that doesn't really matter at this point. I'm heading out, tutoring something good, and at this point I'm kinda thinking like, they started to lose some gas. They already emptied their hand pretty well, and the only thing they have left is a lot of mana and a Kobold. So I think it's kinda safe for me to just kinda pick up more gas, get a little chunkier creatures. I don't think I need anything specifically powerful at this point, and the tutored card was Ancestral Recall, which is like the most common thing to tutor. And now we're seeing the Gauntlet of Might and a second Taskmaster. Yeah, and this is exactly the reason why I did Blue Blast the first one. Because at this point, that first Kobold would be hitting quite fast. Like, that would be an actual clock with 3 power. And yeah, there's the Ancestral. The opponent's tapped out of all red, so I don't have to fear any red blasts. So, easy spot to take the cards. Let's see, how good was the draw? We got a little mana acceleration with the Mox. And a Savannah Alliance, which at this point is actually a pretty good sight. And like, if the opponent doesn't have the Lightning Bolt in hand, that thing's gonna block basically anything. Those Kobolds are not getting any toughness boosts from anywhere, which is why Savannah Alliance is a decent blocker. And they are getting aggressive. Both Kobolds heading in my way. It's 2 damage for the Taskmaster and 2 damage for the Kobold. It's pretty obvious I need to block something to just keep myself alive at this point, and the Taskmaster has toughness of 3, little Kobold only 2, so it's quite obvious blocking that. Yeah, I would like to get rid of the Taskmaster because it would buff all the other incoming Kobolds as well, but, well, disenchanting the Gauntlet of Might, that's the first step in the path. And passing the turn at this point, hoping we won't see anything really bad anymore. And next thing we're seeing, okay, we did see even more Taskmasters. They just keep on coming. Yeah, and quickly checking what creatures it is exactly buffing. Is like, because the original Taskmaster is worded as the Old Lord system, that it pumps all Kobolds, but it is not a Kobold itself. But the current ruling has changed that, And because we're playing proper Swedish, so we're playing by the modern errata. So that is a kobold itself, but it buffs all other kobolds. And it is a Lotus for me, and it's kind of obvious to play here when I have fairly beefy stuff in hand. And it is the Serra Angel. And Serra Angel is pretty much one of the best draws I could have at this point, because Lightning Bolt isn't gonna kill it. They do have the mana, because if they have Fireball, yeah, they can get rid of the Angel quick. But turns out they had nothing. I gotta get the race, and that Vigilance is gonna probably win me the race all by itself. And to make things a little easier, I got a Suchi to block as well. So this is looking really good right about now. Now just hoping there won't be any really scary top decks. Because basically anything they throw at me, I can handle. But they got only basically a Shivan Dragon would be bad. Maybe a Dragon Whelp, because they can probably buff it. Yeah, they can. They can buff it big enough to kill my Angel. And I'm going in all out. Because, yeah, they can trade the Suchi for 2 Kobolds. And that is a trade I'm willing to take, because that would slow down the game. And the slower the game goes, with the board state like this, the better it is for me. Because, yeah, they can have surprises in hand, but that Angel is a pretty decent clock all by itself. And the trick is because in my hand, I got even more surprises. So losing that Suchi ain't gonna do anything at this point. And I kinda expected it. They're throwing 2 Kobolds right under the bus, trading all, which suits me just fine. 4 damage getting through in the air. And then just quick check on with my mana to see what am I gonna do. Right now just passing the turn, saving all my good stuff. And another little kobold. Too little, too late probably at this point. My library, well, that ain't gonna be a big deal anymore. Angel dropping them down to 8. And another Suchi in hand. Yeah, at this point it's pretty much looking like game over. Especially they're drawing extra lands in the point where those are not needed at all. So playing it safe, swing with the Angel because it's just a 2-turn clock. That Suchi ain't gonna get through. 1 Kobold would probably just plug it and it would be done with that. And let's see. Is that top deck any good? Or does the Angel take the cake? Passing the turn. Angel goes for the swing. And they are packing it up. Game is tied. And it is game number 3. Now I gotta just do the same thing again. I'm really hoping for an Angel, because that's probably the best creature for this match for me. And they start with a classic Kobold hand. And I got a good start. Land into Soul Ring into Chaos Orb. That is a good protected start. Okay, they could have Shatters to blow it up, but if they're spending their turn to just blowing up 1 Chaos Orb, well, that ain't too bad. But a Black Lotus might be. And it's a Gauntlet of Might, so okay, not terrible. And a Taskmaster as well. Okay, so that Kobold is gonna get in and do some damage, but with that Chaos Orb in play, I'm not worried at this point. Because, yeah, I'm usually pretty decent at flipping, so I'm pretty sure I can drop that Gauntlet and kind of slow things down a bit. And a Factory to block, so that's making things a little easier on my part. Just quick math, which mana to spend. Yeah, I'm not gonna block without the ability to pump with the Factory, so just using that Factory to pay, and boom, down it goes. That Gauntlet is no more. That was a pretty clean flip. And a Spirit Link. And the Spirit Link is actually going to that smaller kobold. Basically, the idea is that the Taskmaster is a creature that I want to destroy. That's if I draw swords, I am getting rid of that because it will pump all the other kobolds as well. And for that little one, I don't give a rat's ass about it. So that way, with the Spirit Link, I can just forget that creature even exists. And right now, the Taskmaster is getting in, dropping me for 1. And a Library of Alexandria. That isn't probably going to be drawing too many cards right about now, but let's see how long this game will go. A lot of mana for me, and there's the book. So now I got card draw going, and that factory might be do something, but I'm not actually sure if I want to block at this point. Because, yeah, I'm letting it through. Because that mana probably will be more useful for me. Because with the book, I know I'm gonna be sinking a lot of mana into it. So I gotta just make sure I have all the mana in the world at my fingertips. Because, yeah, right away, drawing extra cards, that 4 mana investments is not nothing. But the question here is, do I get anything good? And do I really want to use that City of Brass and take damage? Yeah, I do. Well, Demonic Tutor, that's a good reason to take a little damage. Thinking about the draw here, like, do I want to go with the classic Ancestral Recall? Well, Brain Geyser isn't really the right option. Blue Blast, no need. And I think my answer is pretty clear. It's gonna be Serra Angel. Because at this point I'm thinking I need to finish this game, and Serra Angel is pretty much the best way to do it. That creature is gonna race with basically everything except a Shivan Dragon or Dragon Whelp. And I know the opponent isn't playing that many of those. So they get a little hit on me, I get another turn, and I just see which mana to use. Yep, 5 mana, Serra Angel. Now this is a tight game. And just looking at the mana, because I noticed that they missed a land drop at this point as well. So I'm not really worried about fireballs or things like that. So now thinking, and that's a bait right there. Like, you don't attack with a single kobold unless you got something. But now the question is, I think I want to take the bait. Just activate the factory. I'm not gonna put my angel in front of that. There's like no way. Because that angel is gonna be so important to finishing this. And yeah, there's the lightning bolt, just as I predicted. Getting it out of their hand in case they draw another so they can't double bolt the angel. So that worked out pretty much like I wanted it to. And let's see now, how fast can this angel finish the game? That's 5-turn clock. And the first hit connects with no issues. Ooh, emptying the hand with the Mind Twist. 2 fireballs. Oh yeah, that would have been scary if they had more mana. And they held down to the mountain. They really wanted to get to the library cards and like start drawing. But turns out that was not good right now. But seeing those cards getting wasted, I'm pretty good. The second Taskmaster is in. They're now hellbent, no cards in hand. Like that's perfect position for me right now. A little factory there, just a little insurance. And something a little more. Yeah, Brain Geyser, that was a good top deck. Drawing some extra cards, getting more gas. Even left the factory to block if I need, but no. Taking a Lion in, because Lion can at this point block everything well. So that's gonna keep the ground creatures at bay. Angel got the hit in. What's the draw? Nothing good. Well, nothing important at least. Passing the turn right away. And this point is just... my brain is just thinking, how quick can I end this? How sure can I be that the opponent will not do anything drastic? Anything surprising? So just draw a card, swing with the Angel. And well, extra lines is always good. Crowd up the board. Make sure there's nothing getting through. There's 2 more turns I need until this game is over. That could be a double bolt. 4 mana, that is something, and that's a gauntlet. That's a gauntlet, and that could be scary. Because now the ground creatures are getting buffed, and the Taskmaster has the toughness 3 boost. But unfortunately, I was lucky I didn't had the disenchant in hand, so that will not be an issue for me. Alright, the Angel probably starts hitting quite early. Yeah, no need to wait for that swing. Drop them down to 4. And a Suchi on the board. Just making sure. And a second Suchi. Alright, this game is pretty much clean and done. There isn't much in the deck that can change how this game is gonna end. Giving them the last turn. And nothing active on their part. Passing the turn and just swing with everything. Only the Angel is needed, but just go for the gold. And that is a clean win for Triple S. Kobolds are going down. Oh boy, this was a fun match. I mean, it's Kobolds. What else do you need to say? I was kinda surprised how fast and strong their attacks can be when the cards line up. I mean, the start of Game 2 was a perfect example of this, but the issue is with decks like this is that once you run out of gas, you should already be in the very commanding position to close the game out. Triple S showed its strength here. The ability to get beefy creatures out quickly was important, and those Suchis being bolt-proof was extremely relevant. Sure, you don't have rats before sideboarding, but the spot removal should be close enough to stem the bleed, as it in most cases was here. Though a match like this does raise a question. Which is better against red? Blue creature or an artifact creature? They have good amount of removal for both, but does drawing a Shatter or a Red Blast matter more considering your other cards? Like, do you want that Red Blast going into a Serendip or an Ancestral Recall? Leave a comment down below and tell me which would you pick in this case. Getting pitted against a more aggressive deck was favorable for Triple S, but there is still one more match coming. We'll be seeing something completely different then. But now, it's time to close the books for today and get preparing for the third match. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.